Hey everybody, welcome to the stream today on a beautiful Sunday. We're going to be back in the best ball streets, a couple drafts. As you saw in the thumbnail, we are going to be cooking up some robust running back soup, our favorite kind of soup. Today is going to be Underdog, so a little easier to do this, I think, just because of 18 rounds, half PPR scoring. It makes a little more sense to do. Obviously, we'll see what the room gives us here. I'm not going to force anything, but that's just kind of how we've been drafting. See how many we've done so far. So 35. This will be our 36th, 37th today. Yeah, we'll see what happens. So, all right, let's get in the lobby here. Already 7% filled and only May 17th, so a lot of drafters out there. But as I always preach, draft early, better chance to win in my mind. So all right, almost a full lobby. It's a good sign. Not much has changed since yesterday. I think it might have been after my stream that Rodgers officially signed with the Steelers, but we're all kind of expecting that. No big surprise there. Been drafting him all summer, or I'll say all summer. It hasn't even started yet. Been drafting him all May so far. So definitely expecting him to sign. Doesn't change much. I think his ADP might rise a little bit, but he's still he'll probably come up to the Geno, Brissett, Mendoza range, but I don't think he should rise much more than that. And then obviously one of our favorite guys all draft cycle so far has been Michael Pittman, so we'll just keep drafting him. I could definitely see him going up kind of in this Josh Downs, Myers range, kind of where I've been drafting him. I mean, that's kind of where he should be going anyway. But yeah, other than that, it doesn't change a whole lot. It's kind of already all baked into Rodgers. It would have been much more of a surprise if Rodgers, decided to just retire and just not come back. That would have definitely changed some things. But him coming back doesn't change anything. It's probably like a 90% chance of happening. In my mind. So, all right. So we got a draft here. We are in the 6th hole. Very reasonable spot. It does mean that we'll probably miss out on the big 5, but JT, CMC, Amon-Ra start is also fine. Let's see. Any good names? I think we drafted with J-Wax. It looks familiar. Barb Daddy, Mitchie, Kyle, Voodoo Heng, Spiz Wolf, and Belly Butter. Belly Butter sounds pretty nasty. Don't even want to know what that is. What was that website? Don't look up Belly Butter on Urban Dictionary. That probably not what you want on your computer. All right, so we got Gibbs going 1. That's what we do at 1, but most drafts I feel like I've seen Bijan be the guy there, but we'll see if ADP shifts during the summer at all. Now that the schedule's out. I think it was last stream I had the one on DraftKings, and I kind of went through my thoughts on why I was taking Gibbs over Bijan. So. But yeah, very close. All right, so yeah, there goes the big five. I think I said this before as well. I like to kind of let the room decide these two for me, but I'm gonna go ahead and grab CMC. I just think he has a little bit more ceiling than JT. I think their offense is slightly better. I do think his playoff schedule, CMC, is a little little better as well than JT's. So this is really my only hair splitting differences there, but either one could be, you know, the 40-point guy that you need in week 17. So I think people are quickly forgetting that, you know, Jonathan Taylor was literally the guy you needed all year last year until Daniel Jones got hurt. So I think he's, you know, a great pick in this range for sure, because, you know, there's a world where Daniel Jones doesn't get hurt. The Colts, you know, don't even have to go to the Super Bowl, but they look like they were certainly on their way to at least deep playoff run. And JT could have been easily the #1 pick, or just, you know, in the conversation with Gibbs and Bijan up there. So I say this all the time, but, you know, the half round value doesn't seem like a lot, but it really, I mean, really is. Really is a lot. As the ADPs, you know, as they get more like better every year, I think that market gets a little sharper. It's hard to find guys that are like going, you know, multiple rounds or 1 round discounted. So the half round kind of discount, if you will, is definitely one to apply. I'm not saying that JT should be drafted ahead of any of these guys, but I'm just saying, you know, I think at 7, 8, he's a really good pick. I kind of always clown the Jefferson drafters in this range, but yeah, I just see more upside with JT than Jefferson. So, all right, pretty standard start from everybody. So typically I've been taking running backs here, just kind of hammering those out. But I think we're going to go with Brock Bowers here, get a little exposure to him. I know I've talked in other streams about how I have Love kind of ahead of Henry, ahead of Jacobs, ahead of kind of neck and neck with Chase Brown, but don't want to get too much love, you know, right away here. And Bowers obviously is top guy at his position, I think. So a guy that can go 40 any given week, CMC, and then Bowers can obviously, he put up like what, almost 50 in a game last year. So definitely, you know, what you want to do in the first few rounds, just hit those ceiling guys. See if where McBride goes here. I do expect Bowers to pass McBride ADP wise. Looks like he might have already done it on Underdog, Underdog. I think on DraftKings I still see that McBride goes ahead of Bowers. So, but yeah, I expect McBride to kind of settle in this range over here, and that's probably where I'll, like, early 3rd round, probably where I'll start drafting a little bit of him if I can see him there. Like right now with, you know, where J-Wax is, I think I would go ahead and grab McBride there. See what he does. Josh Allen goes pretty early. Also Nico, 23. A little early on him. So Bomba's kind of getting a little unique over there. I'd like to see that as a 6-hole. It means we'll probably get a guy that we normally wouldn't see at 30. See if Barb stays strong running back. Or, sorry, strong receiver start. Or if they grab a running back. Okay, they go with Jacobs. Keep grabbing Breece Hall. I think Breece, you know, like I said, I think he's going to pass Jacobs at some point in the draft cycle. I think he should kind of be in this area. Definitely not over here. I mean, this is where he was going. It's already kind of coming up. I mean, CDP's 30 now. He was going kind of a late 3rd round pick, and yeah, just does not deserve to be down there. Yeah, either does Javonte. That's kind of why my thumbnail is robust running back. It's just these guys are all going a little. I know people are still shocked with how high running backs are going, but I think that there's room for them to even get more expensive kind of as the cycle goes here, as the summer goes. So we do need to take a receiver probably next, but lots of options there. Anxious to see where ETN will kind of settle, because have a hard time clicking him over Brees and Javante. Just going to a new team. I know, had a good year last year. But I just think Brees and Javante probably in a little better spots than him. But, New Orleans does have a very nice playoff schedule. Tampa, Arizona, Atlanta. That's a nice gauntlet of potentially good fantasy matchups there. So you can see that. You can see the upside, I guess, for ETN there. So early Loveland, 38. Definitely makes my Bowers at 19 look a little better when, I think it's a pretty... I know some people are lumping Loveland up with Bowers and McBride, but I'm not, not as quick to anoint him as, the rare error these two guys are. They've already kind of proven they've had multiple... I know Bowers got hurt last year, but, 48-point game. Like, he clearly has... ceiling that no other tight end has. I know Loveland had a nice stretch at the end of the year, but very small sample size. We'll see. So it's not that I'm not drafting him, but I do think he kind of belongs more in this kind of late 4th, early 5th range. So Javante at 41, I think that's a great spot for him. This is normally where we're taking Scattaboo, but I think since we did start with Bowers, we do need to grab a receiver here. Guy I've been kind of coming on a little more recently is Evans. I think he does have a lot of ceiling, especially on Underdog, especially just because it's half PPR, very touchdown dependent. Don't mind. I'll start with him as my wide receiver 1. Have him with CMC too, so opens up a nice opens up Purdy, who I think is very appropriately priced right there at 100-ish. So, do you like that start? San Francisco does play the Chargers, Kansas City, and Philly. So they have Philly in week 17. So, plenty of guys later here. Whether it's Goddard, whether it's Dontavian Wicks at the very end that we can kind of get a little bit of week 17 correlation with. So this 5th round is where we like to also add another running back, a 3rd, sometimes a 4th. As my thumbnail suggests, definitely go robust early on running backs. So, can do the same thing here. There's a lot of options. So we have, I like to mix all these guys in. I don't have too much conviction on any one. I definitely have more price early on, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab Swift. He also opens up, kind of Caleb Williams at 67 if you want to go there. If none of the receivers are very appealing. But yeah, I think starting out strong at running back, grabbing Bowers, Evans. We do need, obviously we need more receivers, but as you guys know, if you've watched any of my streams, the one position I like to kind of leave as the weakest of any of them is definitely receiver. So yeah, Tootin goes pretty early here, so it does dry up quickly at running back. I don't think Chuba Hubbard is anywhere near the tier of these guys, so that's why clicking on them early. And then I do like Ramondre, as a 4th guy, or Pollard or Warren. That's probably what we'll do on this team since we did grab Bowers early. We do need to probably go receiver here, unless mixing in the elite quarterbacks too. I think these are all considered elite quarterbacks in this range. All right, so let's see. Price goes at 61. Judkins goes. So yeah, definitely going to be either a receiver or quarterback here. And, there's not really any particular fallers at receiver. Where would we draft coming around here? 78. So what would we be looking at here? I do like Parker Washington here. And So a lot of quarterbacks kind of bunching up. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and grab Parker Washington. I think he's a good fit for this team as well. Opens up Trevor as well, unless we get a Caleb fall down, which could happen as well. Probably not though. Actually, that's a good question. So Loveland, yeah, I mean Loveland's over here, Burton's over here to my right, so we could see Caleb come back to us at 78, because Rome's also on the right side of the board. So be happy with either Trevor or Caleb on this team. Notice Jaden Reed has been kind of creeping up. It's like the ranks here, so definitely interesting. I like his price a little more on DraftKings. He's kind of like the mid to high 90s, and that's probably where I start getting interested in him. Not really as interested on half PPR at 74. Seems a little aggressive, but so Ramondre goes. He's one of our favorite kind of fourth running backs. There goes May. So it worked out where we're able to get Caleb here. So we'll go ahead and grab that little bit of ADP discount there, and also pair him with Swift, who's not you necessarily want to pair a lot of your quarterbacks with running backs, but Swift's definitely one that you is a smart pick to do it with as a big receiving option for them. Also opens up Laporta for us at 91 as like another tight end option if we do. Not necessarily though, because we do have Bowers, but you guys know I like to be kind of aggressive with my tight end rooms because of the fact that most Bowers drafters out there are kind of waiting to just grab some kind of crappy guy at the end. I like to kind of just flip the bill a little bit, change it up. I do one of my theses this year is that a lot of these tight ends here and kind of in the middle of the draft just have just as good of a chance of hitting your flex as some of the receivers do anyway, just because of the way the NFL is going. So I do like to have really strong tight end rooms if it kind of warrants it. And then why it's also more appealing is obviously the week 17 correlation with Chicago players. So yeah, that is an option for us. Is Trevor's still there as well if we want to double two good quarterbacks? Can just see what happens here. QJ, pretty early, 86. Don't love that. I think he's more of a 100 type of a player. Laporta does go off the board, so that is gone as an option. Still would take Trevor here. And if not, probably would just fill out the running back room with either Warren, Harvey, Monungai. Well, actually not Monungai because we have... Okay, so T-Law does go. Like that new headshot of him with the short hair. See what Mitchie's probably going to grab a running back here for sure. So all he has is Kyron. I'm guessing probably Warren. Yep. So this is a spot where I think we'll go ahead and grab our first RJ Harvey share. It's a good 91 is I think is a nice fall for him. Definitely a good running back 4 spot. I think I said on another video, was not interested in him in the kind of late 70s, 80s, but I think here 90 is where I start to get interested. So we'll kind of close out the robust running back room early here. McCaffrey, Hall, Swift, and Harvey. Kind of let that simmer a bit, and if we need a fifth, kind of contingent Sean Tucker-esque, Mike Washington-esque, we'll add on, but if not, I think this is a perfectly fine hyper-fragile build as well, so you guys know I have to keep my options open. So coming around, we definitely are going to be looking at what receivers are here. We know good old faithful Michael Pittman is the perfect wide receiver 3, so have that option. We also have Brock Purdy if we want to complete our San Francisco stack. So we'll see what the room gives us here. It's like everybody but Zabarnix has a quarterback, so let's keep an eye out on him when he's going to grab his first. So Jacoby Myers goes. Blake Corum. So Dobbins. Okay, so she could grab Bo Nix too, now that we have Harvey, but I'm going to go ahead and just lock up our San Francisco little stack we got going on. So pretty good quarterback room. Caleb and Purdy, like that start. We have Swift with Caleb, and then we have McCaffrey and Evans with Purdy. So obviously, would love to have Pittman come around to us. Probably won't, but never know. But we still have Romeo Doubs, Xavier Worthy, Concepcion, Wandale as a as a third receiver. When we do Bowers early, it's going to definitely hurt our receiver room a bit, especially because we're not backing down on our running back thesis. So, but like I said, totally, the plan every draft is to have a weak wide receiver room. So that's what we want to do. All right, so Zabarnix grabs his first quarterback. Does Love. Does not stack him, but just grabs Love. Does he have any Houston guys, maybe? He does not, so maybe he likes... It's kind of the hard thing with Love is, like, if you, don't have an early piece, it's kind of hard to backstack him. I guess maybe, like, Xavier, or what's that guy's name? Is it Xavier Williams? Yeah, Savion Williams. You could kind of go the Cordell Patterson bet with him, but probably don't need to do that on Underdog. It's probably more of a DraftKings type play. So Pittman, our boy, goes here at 113, so pretty sad. Mitchie's already got 6 receivers, so he's going pretty zero RB build, and he grabs Concepcion for his 7th. So I think that leaves us with either Worthy or Dubs. San Francisco does play Kansas City in Week 16, so let's go ahead and tack that on as some nice corollary, corollary piece, and also a little dart throw weekly Worthy action. Don't mind Worthy. Especially if they avoid the Tyreek Hill signing or Stephon Diggs signing, someone like that. I think he's going to be a pretty good pick at 115. I do think if one of those guys does sign, it kind of, doesn't feel as good. But I think at this price, totally viable. Probably has more upside than the guys going around him. Obviously besides Pittman, I like Pittman better, but all right. Coming around here again, we'll probably be looking at more receivers or a tight end. Receivers kind of dry up here again. This is why we have strong tight ends rooms typically. So obviously we'll definitely take Kittle here as a faller to add on to our stack. Andrews, Kincaid, also very nice tight end 2s for this team. So probably don't have any need for a falling Baker, even though it would be nice, but doesn't really make sense in this team. Obviously, Kittle would be the home run faller for this, but see what Barb Daddy has up their sleeve. They take Jonathan Brooks. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and grab Kittle as tight end 2. It's a really nice fall on him, 126. Also, love to have Kittle on a elite tight end team, just because he's always gonna have the weekly upside, especially you're thinking kind of end of the season with that, just because of the injury. But the good thing about having him as your tight end 2 is, Brock Bowers will carry us early, and Kittle can hit the flex once he gets healthy. Take your time, Mr. Kittle. So another thing I love about robust running back is, I don't really want to be worrying about taking a lot of these iffy backs here. Yeah, they have some upside. Jonathan Brooks could be the guy here, but I want to be able to be flexible enough to kind of get falling tight ends, receivers, quarterbacks, whatever. Gives you the flexibility because this running back room I could literally just stop here. Probably will add a fifth at the end, but like I said, that's when it's going to be okay. There's no other guys I like here. If I was doing zero running back, I probably couldn't make that luxury pick on Kittle just because I would have had to grab a Brooks, a Tracy, Keaton Mitchell type. All right, so we have a Malik Willis falling here. I do normally like to pick him up when he does fall. Because, these receivers just not interesting at all to me. Shaheed, Cooper, McMillan. Not really it for me. So I'm going to go ahead and grab Malik Willis here. I think he's a very good third quarterback. I love his late stacking partners like Caleb, blanking on the name, Caleb Douglas. So I think, especially on DraftKings, Caleb Douglas is like free in the final round. Kind of detailed last video why I think he's a really good pick. Kind of a Christian Watson-esque comp, which is, all the Packer guys coming over there to Miami. It's kind of the perfect fit with Malik Willis. Like to have the options at the end and always thinking ahead. So that definitely also puts pressure on some of these, guys that only have one quarterback because makes them rush a little bit to grab a second or third. All right, so don't really need a third tight end here. Normally would be kind of that range, especially with our boy Kenyon Sadiq still sitting here, but probably need to go ahead and grab another receiver. There's a couple of Las Vegas boys here, which we'll probably do. This team could use just a nice guy who's going to run some routes. All right, Sadiq goes anyway, so don't even have to think about it. Go ahead and just grab Jalen Naylor there, lock him in. I think he has a good chance at a nice role with how much they paid him. Not super upside guy, but probably gives us some floor on some of the weeks that Evans and Washington have bad games. So it also has upside. He could, I think people are getting a little, everyone's assuming that the Dolphins are going to add a free agent. Everyone's assuming Las Vegas is going to add a free agent. But, I mean, Clint Kubiak did a lot with, one good receiver there in Seattle. They don't have a JSN, obviously, but I think he's just going to want to run the ball, obviously improve on defense. And, I don't know if he wants to pay like a diva Stephon Diggs to come in there and, I don't think Miami's going to want to do that either, just with how their Packer background of GM, coach. Packers got by with just a bunch of nobodies, really. No divas for sure, so we'll see. All right, come back around here. Do I want to take Brenton Strange? He goes anyway. Don't love any of these picks, really. Really dries up quickly at receiver here. I guess we'll just grab Tesla. Good offense. Some contingent upside if, J-Mo gets hurt or St. Brown, obviously. So probably won't have a lot of Tesla, but just, this team just needs bodies at receiver, really. Because we have very nice pieces everywhere else around it. Because we don't need 5 running backs. We don't need 3 tight ends. I don't think I have any. I have very few 2 tight end teams. This is probably the one to do it with. Bowers and Kittle. We could just rip off 9 receivers here, honestly. And then if there's a falling running back we like, make it an 8 receiver room, but do have a pretty nice San Francisco stack, so I don't know. I guess Stribling's there. I was going to say Stribling would have been maybe a little too much San Francisco. But he's already gone, so. It's probably where we could add a Dusty, Ridley, Judy. I think he would fit right in here. Falling Algier, I mean, gives us some week 17 with Bowers and Naylor. Okay, he goes, so we don't really have to think about that. Sampson's a tier break of probably the last decent actual running back to pick, so go ahead and grab him here. Yeah, it's a pretty good fall for him. It also fits in well, just the rest of the room, especially with Judkins kind of coming off the pretty bad injury there. Sounds like he's going to be available early on, but I do like Dylan Sampson. He'll still have a role, I think, every week. It's kind of the range where there's, you know, all the receivers are kind of the same here. Doesn't really matter, so. If there's a reason to take a fifth running back there, which I think it was, we'll just kind of rip off three guys at the end. We already have Caleb Douglas for sure, an 18. Probably can get Wicks here at 198 as the bring back to the San Francisco stuff. And then, yeah, just another kind of guy here. So have a kind of unknown rookie. Wicks is kind of low upside, but kind of helps with the floor every week. So could always take another swing at 187. Would like Flournoy for him to drop would be nice. Could also double Miami if Chris Bell is still here. Zachariah Branch is fun. Do you want more of him? Flournoy probably is the pick if, yeah, he's still here. So yeah, let's go ahead and grab Flournoy. He's a guy that if things break right, injury happens, definitely a potential league winner type at receiver. That's what we're looking for with this type of build. We'll see if Chris Bell makes it around. Probably not. Yeah, he goes to JWEX. Wasn't really expecting him to. So now I guess it just comes down to like Zachariah Branch or Dontavian Wicks. Because I know Caleb Douglas is going to be there in the in round 18, so I don't have to worry about him right now. Let's see. Yeah, somebody already taken, and then I also do like Malachi Fields as well. Giants. I do have, Detroit. Do I have Detroit? Yeah, I have Tesla, but he's not really a major piece. I was gonna say I have. Well, I guess now I have Flournoy. So yeah, I mean, the Giants do play Cleveland, Detroit, Dallas. So I kind of have a player from each of those teams. So that gives me a little bit of playoff correlation. Zachariah Branch goes, so he is no longer a candidate. I think I'm just going to go with Wicks if he's here as just a bring back Philly piece. That makes the most sense. Kind of similar to Naylor. He's going to have, not good weeks, but good money paid to him. Obviously, we'll see what shakes out with, the A.J. Brown trade. Does Kayshon Boutte come back in that trade? If he does, it definitely makes Wicks a little less appealing. But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? If he doesn't come back, then Wicks, either Wicks or Hollywood Brown probably share a little bit of snaps, but one could just emerge as the guy there as the wide receiver 3, and I think that'll be pretty valuable, especially because AJ Brown's not there. We're assuming, so it does open up a lot of targets. Obviously, Devontae Smith will always be the kind of alpha there, but we don't know how good Kai Lemon's gonna be. Could be good. Could be kind of a bust. So Wicks has shown that he's a pretty good receiver. Has kind of battled drops and just, always kind of rotational play in Green Bay. So definitely a bet I like to make at the end, just based on talent. The contract he got, and then still pretty young as well. But especially when he fits a stack in week 17, like to, whether I have Hurts or just as a piece to that game. So yeah, like the team so far. It's going to be a 3-5-8-2. All right, and someone does grab Douglas, so that kind of sucks. Do we want Tank Dell? I guess we have Malik Washington. He's probably my third favorite Miami receiver, but he's still a Miami receiver, so I'm going to go ahead and grab him. Forgot about him. Normally he's the one going, kind of in this round 17 range. But honestly, you can make a case for any of these guys. Douglas is my favorite just because I think he's the most kind of unknown, and he's not coming off an injury like Chris Bell is. But, Washington, kind of know what he is. He's going to be probably their slot guy. Probably better for DraftKings and the full point PPR. He's not going to score a lot of touchdowns, but who knows? Maybe he actually, leads the receiver room. But, it seemed like when Willis was playing last year, those couple games, that he was, obviously they ran the ball a lot, but he was targeting guys down the field. Dubs and Christian Watson both had, I think, 9-10 targets in the games that he started. So it's exciting for Chris Bell and Douglas because those guys are going to be guys who are targeted down the field more, especially Douglas. With his speed and size, should be kind of perimeter guy down the field, kind of like a poor man's Christian Watson. And we'll see if Miami adds a free agent guy. But I think the only guy that, like I said, the only guy that would really make me feel bad about heavy kind of late Miami exposure, it would be Diggs. But it's kind of like, do they really want to bring in a diva guy like Diggs and pay him more money? From Packers guys probably aren't going to want to do that, but like I said, we'll see. All right, so let's recap the team. I think it's a pretty good one here. We got Caleb Williams, Purdy, and Malik Willis. Very strong quarterback room. We have Christian McCaffrey, Breece Hall, DeAndre Swift, RJ Harvey, Dylan Sampson. I think this is our first RJ Harvey share, so that's pretty exciting. Great running back room. We have Mike Evans, Parker Washington, Xavier Worthy, Jalen Naylor, Isaac Tesla, Ryan Flournoy, Dontavian Wicks, Malik Washington. Very solid running receiver room. Definitely needs maybe an injury or two to really be good, or Worthy and Naylor. Actually, it's kind of a just avoid the Stephon Diggs room. Like, let's keep Diggs away from KC, keep Diggs away from Las Vegas, Diggs away from Miami, and we're feeling pretty good about it. And then obviously tight end, we're feeling really good with Bowers and Kittle. We have nice stacks. Just good, yeah. Just a good little bit of week 17 correlation. So definitely exactly how you want to build a team this year. So let's go ahead and get this one labeled here. Today is the 17th. All right. Perfect. Cool. That's a good one. All right, let's jump into another draft here. This will be number 37, I believe. Hopefully they run one of those promos. We did get a free one yesterday, which is nice. It was like draft 5, get one free or something like that for like a 4-day period. So nice to see. I know last year they did a nice deposit bonus, where I think I got like $500 free, just depositing early, you know, the whole 37.50 or whatever it is to buy, you know, 150 entries. Let's make sure there's no breaking news here between drafts. Not really much. Just seeing that it looks like Spotify is changing back their logo from the glittering thing to the regular logo, so that's good news. I'm seeing a lot of Alex Smalley and Matty Schmid talk about the PGA Championship, so doesn't sound too exciting. Alright, so yeah, don't see anything big NFL-wise. See what we got going on here in this draft, or what position. The thumbnail for the video is kind of like a robust soup, and that was kind of with the thought of being, you know, drafting in kind of in the 11-12 hole, because you know, you can easily start like Genty, A-Chain, and then I've had many teams where we come around with Breece Hall. Looks like his ADP's up a little bit, where, you know, kind of more towards where it should be, but he was down here with Javonte, you know, just like a week ago, and I was kind of just hammering those 4 running back starts, loving the team. So looks like that is kind of drying up, but it was fun while we had it. Another reason to draft early, kind of like Scatabo. Just at some point, I'm expecting his ADP to rise as well, where I, you know, can't get him all the time where I do, but we'll see. I think people are kind of worried about the injury with him a little bit, but I do believe that if he, you know, if he was healthy last year, played a full season, I think he'd definitely be going this area here, Jacobs, Breece Hall area. So yeah, I think he's definitely he's like one of those rare kind of full round discounts in my mind. I spoke last draft about the half. You know, you're looking for the guys that are half round discounts, but he's a full round discount. I think he's my highest exposed guy right now. So, all right, especially on this site. I think he's a little harder to get on DraftKings. I think people like his, I guess, receiving upside maybe. All right, so we got J-Wax again. Everyone else looks like a new name. We have Underdog in here. Cowboy 5 rings. Oh, okay, so we are in the 12-13 hole. So Underdog was listening to us. So we can try to do the robust soup, which is the thumbnail. See if that can work out. Probably won't get Breece Hall 36, but you never know. Try to recreate it. See if we get our first share of Justin Jefferson. I said that I would not draft him unless he is the 12th pick. So see if that ever comes to fruition here. I know people will probably have a opinion on that of not having any exposure to Jefferson, but I think Minnesota is one of the teams that I'm really bearish on this year. Just don't like their quarterback play at all. I just think they have 2 of the worst quarterbacks, honestly, in the league, Kyler and McCarthy. Whoever the starter is, don't really... Nothing against Jefferson, just strictly not liking either of those 2 guys at quarterback. All right, so the usual top 5 looks like are going here. Actually, hold on, JT 5. Cowboys takes him ahead of JSN, so maybe he was listening to me talk up JT last draft. Our buddy J-Wax gets a nice JSN 6 discount. See where Jefferson goes. Is it going to be the first share of Jefferson at 12 or not? All right, could be. One pick away. Gotta have JT Grass pass on Jefferson for our first share. If not, we will just grab Ginty and A-Chain, start the soup off, just as we did in the thumbnail. Okay, perfect. He does grab Jefferson, so we'll go ahead and grab Ashton Ginty and Mr. A-Chain. Welcome to the soup. So hopefully we can get Breece Hall and Javonte Williams to complete the soup of the day. The robust soup. Been kind of waiting for, I think at every draft I mentioned this, that been waiting for the Jefferson drafter to start correlating either Breece or Garrett Wilson because of the Week 17 matchup, but haven't really seen that yet. I know we will at some point, but surprised that that's not more of a chalky start. But maybe we're the only, maybe some of these guys are just drafting on their phone, not thinking about Week 17, just drinking on a nice Sunday. That's what we're hoping for. So J-Wax does what we did, took Brock at 19. The difference, I guess, is that we had CMC and he has JSN. But I think I started on DraftKings JSN and Bowers earlier this morning, and team turned out very well. So it's a nice start. Also do like Rashee Rice a lot as well. Been drafting a good amount of him, but I want to mix in Bowers and him, and then Jeremiah Love is also one of my favorite picks on this side of the board. I mentioned yesterday that I think it'd be interesting to kind of see what happens with Josh Jacobs' ADP, just because they, very tough perceived matchup against Houston in Week 17, at Chicago Week 16. So I kind of predicted that I thought Breece would kind of potentially pass him on ADP, but we'll see if that happens. I'll definitely do my part in helping that out. Like Jacobs more on this side of the board now. We'll see what the market thinks. Neighbors at 29 is a nice pick. Wasn't picking him at all really in the second round, but people worried about the injury. I'm not too worried about it, but we'll see. His little second knee cleanup, if that affects anything. But definitely makes me like Malachi Fields at the end more, just because of Slayton's also kind of coming off an injury. Darnell Mooney, don't want any part of that, so I think he will be quickly passing the depth chart. But there's not much there really to pass. So with Slayton also kind of slowing down. So maybe we do get our robust soup. Well, no, there goes Breece Hall. So doesn't mean we can't get Javonte, hopefully. I would also take Kyron as well. Probably just start it off. But we'll see what JT Grass does here. Who do they have? They have Walker Jefferson. Like I said, I would be taking Garrett Wilson here. They do not, but I would be taking Garrett Wilson with Jefferson, but that is okay. We'll go ahead and grab Javonte, and we will grab Garrett Wilson. Perfect start. I think, obviously, like I said, I would have wanted to get Kyron or Breece Hall there, but when I am forced to pick out of this range of receivers, I think Garrett Wilson is definitely the easiest pick there for me. I think Flowers is interesting on DraftKings, but a little less interesting on Underdog. But I think Ibuka, McConkey, Tet McMillan, just I think they belong more late fourth, early fifth for me. So not really clicking them. Would rather honestly have Burden. I think when you start with 3 running backs, you kind of want like a true alpha for the room, and I think that Burden has that upside a lot more than McConkey, Ibuka, McMillan do. So, but I get why they're all pretty closely clustered together. So J-Wax grabs Montgomery as his first running back, pretty early, 43. And there goes Scattaboo with Neighbors. So that's potentially setting up some dart action. Giants have a very nice playoff schedule. They start off with Cleveland in Week 15, but then they are going to 2 domes, 2 high-paced dome games against Detroit and then Dallas. So definitely want a lot of Giants this year, especially Scattaboo. So just thinking ahead to my next picks, we'll definitely be looking at a 4th running back to kind of cap the room off early. Let's see, what else are we looking at here? Carnell Tate, I think, is a good pick over there. Tyson is good, receiver 2s. Christian Watson is fine as well. Maybe a sliding Lamar would be nice. He hasn't really been sliding. I think early on we saw him kind of, well, I guess it's going to be because the Chase drafter is always going to be enticed to just correlate with the Week 17 and grab Jackson. I've done that before too. So I think we're not really going to see much of he was sliding before the schedule came out, but I think that's going to be kind of gone for the time, just because of the Week 17 correlation. It makes sense. I've even seen people pull Flowers up, up here to 27. I wouldn't do that myself, but could see some of that too. I've seen a lot of this as well. Seems pretty chalky to go Brown, Higgins, Burrow. I guess the issue is it's not a lot of exciting. I guess there's some, late Baltimore excitement you could go for, but. All right, Tootin and Price both go, so that's probably not looking good for our 4th running back. I guess Judkins is the last hope for that. If not, we'll probably just... Let's see, is Terry gone? Terry's gone. So we don't have the Jaden stack available either. Definitely grab Judkins if he's here. If not, we'll just double tap receiver, I guess. Yeah, Dunze goes. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and grab Judkins. And then it's a pick of, I guess, receiver there. Jets have Arizona, New England, Minnesota. You have all these guys. I kind of like Carnell Tate and just like the unknown. I think Tennessee's definitely take a step forward on offense. They do play Pittsburgh in Week 17. One of my favorite picks of Michael Pittman. Could be available at 108. Let's see, where's his ADP? Also could get Metcalf potentially in the mid 80s. Where is Pittman's ADP? He's 108, so exactly at 108. I do think his ADP is going to come up though, just with the Rodgers signing. I mean, it never really should have been at 108. So we'll see what happens. We don't necessarily even have to correlate that either. But yeah, I like Carnell Tate. I think he was... What was his draft position? Was he the 4th pick? Yeah, the 4th pick. Great prospect score. Has a Chris Olave-esque Player comp is one of his comps. So, yeah, I think he's a good pick, especially for this kind of build, where we are, hammering out running backs. We want guys that, I wouldn't say Tennessee's an ambiguous receiver room, but because it should be Tate as the lead guy, but I think, some people are assuming that maybe Wandell, him, and Ridley kind of, maybe Packers it up, kind of share the production, but could definitely see, Tate having like a Jamar Chase-esque season, rookie season, where he just kind of, takes over and has a big year. That's what we want for these kind of builds, because, the other options around him, we kind of, Christian Watson's fine. I don't think he's ever going to be like a Jamar Chase-esque player. Jordan Tyson, similar draft capital, similar, I guess, upside, but, he has Olave there as kind of the alpha. I think just see Tate getting more targets just because he really doesn't have that. So that's kind of the tiebreaker between him and Tyson right now for me. Indy at Las Vegas and Pittsburgh also is a nice playoff schedule for Tennessee. Do like that. And then he has a late stacking quarterback. Gives us options with Cam Ward, who should be much improved in his second year as well. So definitely like to grab Tate here at 61. Or if he falls. I think I got him at like 67 maybe yesterday. Can't remember if it was on here or DraftKings, but yeah. I think this range of guys, he's probably my favorite click for sure. Alright, so this is what we're going to be thinking about. Could take a tight end. Could grab Dak. I do like Dak here if he falls to 84. Also not opposed to just bringing up Michael Pittman here at 84, because Addison, Chris Godwin, Michael Wilson, kind of like Pittman better than those guys anyway. I think I did this yesterday with Kyle Pitts, and I did have Tyson in this range. I brought Kyle Pitts up ahead of Fannin and Laporta, just because they're very similar and definitely unique. So Dak does go, which kind of sucks, but let's see. All right, we're definitely going to grab Pittman. Just going to get that out of the way now. Okay, nice. So we got Pittman. This becomes Kraft or Lawrence. I'm going to grab Lawrence. Let's see, Jacoby Myers probably doesn't fall back to us here at 108, but I guess we could have done Myers and Lawrence, but I kind of like Pittman more, honestly, than Myers anyway. And then, Lawrence has a kind of later stack option in Brenton Strange or even Travis Hunter. It's kind of exciting. Don't love Hunter when I already have like a Jags receiver, like one of the 3 Jags, but if I don't, if I miss out on Myers, definitely could see myself being interested in Hunter at, what's his ADP now? Yeah, I think he's come up a little bit. 142. So maybe a falling Hunter would be nice, but it seems like Hunter's a hard stack guy because people are interested in him just even without Lawrence, that's when it kind of makes your stack hard. It's kind of blurry there for a second. See if I can refocus this. Oh, that's better. People love Hunter just as not even stacked, just as like an upside guy. So it's kind of hard to, I've noticed it's hard to push him to fall if you have Lawrence. Typically, most receivers, good chance they fall if you already have their quarterback, but especially right now he's a wide receiver 4 maybe. but you know, obviously, we know why people like him. The upside, number 2 overall pick last year. So, I get it. All right, so no Myers yet. So always a chance that he just falls to a spec. Definitely want to be thinking about tight ends, other quarterbacks maybe too. Still have Geno in our back pocket and Cam Ward, Aaron Rodgers, Malik Willis. So even Mendoza with Ginty. So yeah, we have a lot of options here. You don't necessarily have to take quarterback. We'll see what comes around to us here. What are the receivers that we're looking at? So obviously Myers would be the home run. Matthew Golden would feel pretty good there. Dubs would fit this team fine. A lot of quarterbacks stacking up as well, so pretty open. Myers goes, Golden goes, Josh Downs. So a lot of the guys we would have taken there are gone, so not the greatest run out. Don't really want Worthy. This might be a spot for Concepcion. Well, have Judkins. Don't really want to load up on Cleveland. Worthy goes. Don't want Stafford. Any tight ends? We'll grab Romeo. And we'll grab Kittle as well. I want to get more Kittle. I think 116 is a little late on him. And like I said, we have a lot of quarterback options later. We already have Trevor. Seems like a room that's kind of waiting on quarterback, so we might get a nice value coming back around. This is kind of the range where we can get Cam Ward in the 130s if we want. Kind of a, obviously 2 upside guys, kind of 2 middling, safer receivers, so can start swinging on guys as well. Probably a good spot in the 130s if we want to swing on Hunter. I think we'll probably do that. That kind of was the reason why I took Kittle there. Just didn't really want to swing on any receivers there. 109, and I think Kittle. Obviously we're gonna have a. If we do go Ward Hunter here, we'll probably make this into a 4 tight end room. Maybe you get like Terrence Ferguson later, and then a couple dusty guys down here. So maybe get. I don't know if Rodgers is still going to be there at 180. So yeah, we'll see. So it becomes kind of hard on the edges of the drafts is just kind of planning what you want to do. You guys know I'm a planner here. But yeah, it seems like the room's really waiting on quarterbacks. So we know they're going to start firing off soon. Like Stafford at 117. It's pretty late. It's actually a range where I would probably start considering Stafford. I don't think he has really been drafted maybe at all this year, but he's been going in like the 89 to mid 90s. I think that's a little rich for a guy like him. Let's see this team actually. The Hoff. So he has Love, Etienne, 2 running backs, Laporta, Bo Nix, Stafford, Sutton, 2 Lions. There's 2 Lions with no Bears. So Mason. Is Goff? Oh, Goff's already gone. Okay, so maybe he just panicked a little bit and grabbed Stafford. I guess he has Puka. Makes sense. All right, back to our team. Kincaid would be nice. Willis would be a nice second quarterback, especially with A-Chain. Not really any receivers that I'm interested in, so makes you feel much better about the Romeo pick. Would prefer Willis over Ward for sure. Probably take one of those two and then push down maybe a third for, like Gino, Mendoza, or Rogers. But, don't even have to do a third as well. Is there any reason to take Dallas Goedert? Or Likely? I guess Likely would be nice to go with Javonte, so yeah, let's go ahead and grab Malik Willis. And let's go ahead and grab Isaiah Likely. Same buy as Kittle, but not too worried about it. He's got some upside. I think he's a fine. Definitely need some guys, some bodies in this room, just because, Kittle probably will start the year off a little slow. It's also pretty old. But yeah, I like Likely. I think it's a good landing spot for him. I do like the Dallas-New York game. I like New York in general, just a lot of their players. So he's a perfectly fine tight end too for this team. Gives some upside. Also could just hit the flex every once in a while when Kittle does kind of get up to full speed. And then I just think Ward would have been fine there, but I just think Willis has way more upside. And then also you factor in all the late Dolphins that I like, so just became an easy click for me there. I think Willis makes this room easy. I think he makes it easier for me to stop at 2 quarterbacks too if I do miss out on all my late guys. Just with his rushing upside, kind of just gives me more floor week to week than Cam Ward does. So we pass on Hunter. He still could fall back to us here, but he's not really a guy I really want to take it in the 130s. I think it's just, if he falls to me, great. If not, okay to just pass on him. Really don't have too much confidence in him playing a huge offensive role. I see the upside, obviously, with an injury to one of the top 3 guys. But I think without an injury, I just don't see him really playing a ton of snaps. And obviously, he's an exciting contingent guy, but don't want to spend that much draft capital on one of those guys in the 130s. I mean, he really should fall back in the 150s, I think. So if he does, great. If not, I think Likely was just a better pick for this team. So obviously Hunter, we said, is going to be our ideal guy to fall to us here. Who else? We could take a Las Vegas guy. If we do that, it will make Mendoza definitely more appealing because we already have Ginty. So that will be our fallback option. Naylor goes. I think Tucker also goes, so those, and Hunter, so all those options are kind of gone now. And these running backs, we might just grab a third tight end here. Third tight end, maybe John Stribling or Antonio Williams. Williams will correlate with Trevor, but we don't really have a receiver on the Jacksonville side available anymore. I guess Brenton Strange would be a stack, so that would be, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Different bye week, covers other 2 guys, gives Trevor a stack, and then let's go ahead and grab Antonio Williams as a little bit of upside for this receiver room for a rookie, besides obviously Tate. Tate's a little more solidified, as I think he, obviously is going to be the solid our receiver 1 in Tennessee. When Williams is a little bit upside, you know, people are saying that he could be the wide receiver 2 there. Who knows? But, you know, the correlation with Jacksonville Week 17 was the main seller there for me. And then obviously, you know, tight room's looking a lot better here. We could still grab maybe like a Terrence Ferguson type as a 4th, or just kind of leave B, but it gets Trevor a nice stacking partner. It gives us, you know, we don't have to take a 3rd quarterback, like I said, but Geno or Rodgers would be nice to fall back to the 180 here as a 3rd. So we'll see. I do have obviously Garrett Wilson, so I guess the Breece Hall drafter would be the other one that might be interested in Geno. He does have 3 quarterbacks, so he's probably not interested. Where's the Omar Cooper drafter? Has Josh Allen and Jared Goff, so probably not super likely to draft a 3rd, but we'll see. I guess the question is, he'll less likely to draft Geno at 176. He probably would take him at 185, but I'm not gonna let that happen. So we'll see. Then where's the DK Metcalf drafter? He's all the way over here. He already passed on Rodgers, so the Jalen Warren drafter he's the Allen Goff guy. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. See if he takes either Geno or Rodgers, but like I said, we don't have to take either one here. Just would be kind of a luxury pick. And then if we do want Terrence Ferguson, let's check in with the Stafford drafter. He has Sadiq, Hawkinson, and Laporta, so pretty low chance that he grabs Ferguson before the very end of the draft. So I think I feel pretty good about getting Ferguson at 204. So probably get a quarterback and then either receiver or running back here. Are there any running backs that we're interested in? I guess Tank Bigsby would be pretty interesting as a 5th running back. Correlates with Kittle. Kamara is not the worst option either. Opens up maybe Zachariah Branch for Atlanta at the end. Bigsby goes. All right, so I think we will take Kamara as our 5th running back. And then we'll go ahead and grab Geno Smith as our quarterback 3. That gives us a nice stack there with Garrett Wilson. We don't have any Minnesota players. That's okay for the bring back, but that's all right. Also opens up Adonai Mitchell as a potential last pick here as, I guess, wide receiver 6. Guess we really didn't need Kamara there, but I'm okay to do some 6 wide receiver rooms as well. I don't want to, you know, do every team the same. I think Kamara has some upside, but I think that does solidify this. The Kamara pick does solidify this as a 3 wide receiver or 3 tight end build, and we're going to go with 7 wide receivers here. So 3, 5, 7, 3. Maybe like a Zachariah Branch and Adonai Mitchell, or one of the Miami guys that we like. So a lot of options. See how it snaps around to us. Debs, Pittman, Tate, Wilson. It's a fine 4 core there, and then some upside swings. See if Chris Bell gone yet? Let's see. I know he's been kind of dropping. At least I've seen. Okay, he just went. Seems to happen a lot where I mention a guy and they just get picked right there. So I've had him fall to me. I think it was 2 days ago. He fell all the way to the 214, I think, when I had Willis. So, I don't really have like I said, I don't have a super strong conviction between him and Douglas, but the team did draft Douglas first. He's coming off an injury, so less snaps overall with Willis early, I'm sure. And then the market's just kind of decided that he is better. Obviously he has a better draft profile, but I'm fine to just take the cheaper guys, like Douglas, which I've been doing, rather than kind of reaching on Bell. I'll take him if he falls, but we'll see. We'll see where they all shake out here. Tyreek Hill 197. Zachariah Branch also still here to correlate with our Kamara pick. Do like him. And then I'm guessing Adonai is still here. He is, so I don't even have to double stack him. I think Adonai is my most exposed right now out of those three guys: Branch, Adonai, and Douglas. So might want to start smoothing that out a bit. Franklin goes. I'm gonna grab Branch. I do think. I know he's more prototypical DraftKings pick, but I do want some exposure to him. He seems like he's pretty exciting. He could definitely carve out a nice role there in Atlanta. And then I think we're gonna grab. Let's go ahead and grab Caleb Douglas. I do want to bring his exposure up on Underdog. I know he's my highest exposed guy in DraftKings, but I think he's just as good of an Underdog pick as well, because he should be, like I said, his comp is similar to Christian Watson, like big, tall, kind of skinnier, kind of outside threat. So, touchdown or bust kind of guy. So fits well on Underdog. He's not going to be like a 8 to 9 catch a game guy. So. And, Adonai, I think I was already pretty high on him on my exposures on Underdog, so smooth that out a little bit. So we will recap the team in a bit here. Let's see what everybody else is doing. Claiborne, Horton, Surratt, Dulcich, Thompson, Jalen Knoll, Njoku. Pretty standard builds, looks like. A 3-4-7-3. Hyper fragile, really hyper fragile, because he only has the Hoff only has Love and ETN, and then Mason, you're hoping, is a starter, but probably going to be 50-50 with Jones. Jonah Coleman could be the third running back there, I'm sure, to start. So very fragile running back room. All right, and then we got a couple 2-7-7-2s on the end here. You went McBride, Henry, Daniel Jones, and May. So kind of fragile QB tight ends. Underdog went Hurts and Cam Ward, Pitts, and Goddard. So, all right, interesting builds from the room here. Let's recap our team here. So we have a 3-5-7-3: Trevor Lawrence, Malik Willis, Geno Smith. Running back, nice robust start of Ginty, Achan, Javonte Williams, Quinshon Judkins, and Alvin Kamara. We have a couple guys stacked here: Garrett Wilson, Carnell Tate, Michael Pittman, Romeo Doubs, Antonio Williams, Zachariah Branch, Caleb Douglas. So I guess 2 stacked. And then Lawrence stacked with Brenton Strange, Isaiah Likely, and George Kittle. So fine tight end room. Maybe just slow starting tight end room, but I think in the playoff time we'll see some upside from Kittle there. I like that pick at 109. I'm going to continue to scoop him up when I can. Yeah, it's a good balanced team. Obviously, kind of carried by the running back room, but I do think there's some nice upside with the receivers as well. A lot of the rookies I do like here at the end. Caleb Douglas will continue to be one of my favorites, so see how this all plans out. But yeah, like the build. It's number 37. All right, cool. So that will do it for the stream. Appreciate you guys watching. We will continue this probably next time on DraftKings. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Tuesday. See how